So, einen schönen guten Abend. Im Namen von unserem Verein Augenblicke Afrika e.V., als wir diese Veranstaltung, diese 3 Tage geplant haben, da war uns nicht bewusst, dass so viele Menschen hier in Hamburg sind, die sich für dieses Thema interessieren, nämlich Protestbewegungen in Westafrika, speziell am Beispiel Senegal und die Zukunft Afrikas wird natürlich da mit behandelt. Und wir haben heute ein Programm, was aus 3 Teilen besteht. Der erste Teil wird sein, dass Keyti, der hier schon neben mir steht, das Projekt Journal Rappé vorstellt. Das ist ein Projekt von ihm und dem Rapper Xuman, wo sie wöchentlich im Fernsehen so schnell gerappte Nachrichten vorstellen über Politik, Sport, Religion und die sehr kritisch sind. Da freuen wir uns darauf, davon mehr zu erfahren. Dankeschön.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to see that the room is full. I've got 30 minutes to talk about Journal Rappé, so I'll use 10 of those 30 minutes or 15 just to do a brief presentation of the context we are in, and that would help understand why we are doing Journal Rappé, what are the reasons behind. We started the project Journal Rappé in 2013, 1 year after the last presidential elections in Senegal. We started it because there was a momentum that had to be kept, where people were deeply interested into everything related to how our country is run, deeply interested into all citizen-related matters. So as artists, having people like Yanamar, Chat, which we'll see tomorrow, having people like Matador being in the forefront of the revolution in 2012, we as artists had to sit after the change of government and ask ourselves, what can we do more? What should we do more? With Xuman, the one I'm doing Journal Rappé with, we thought that information would be a good start, because with information comes education. And the context we are in, education is a major key to what has to come, to the future of our country. Because when we talk about formal education, we're in a country where at least 50% of the people are illiterate, meaning they can't write or read in the official language of the country, which is French. So the news, particularly being given to Senegalese people in French, we thought there was a gap to be filled. Because when a new law is voted in the parliament, when the government votes a budget, when the president talks to Senegalese people and talks about the policies for the country, there is a vast majority of Senegalese people who can't understand what he's talking about. While those policies, those laws that are voted are impacting their daily lives. So for us, the biggest contribution as artists we could do was to give people the keys to understand what was decided into their name. And that's why we started Journal Rappé. So I resume very much the presence of Senegalese hip-hop into the Senegalese context to a fight for power. I resume it to a fight for power. And to understand that, I think one have to also understand how power is structured in our country. Of course, when we talk about power, the first power we think of is this, the state, those who represent the state. But usually, we don't perceive the state as it is. We perceive the state as something which is for politicians and not for the people. And we start with this because when we talk about politics, we talk about political parties. And just to give an idea of which importance politics got in Senegal, 365 days out of 365 days on the news, they only talk about politics. There is nothing else almost that people talk about, that the media talk about. They only talk about politics. The opposition did so, the president did so, such minister said that. And today, we are at a point where in a country of 14 million people, most people, a lot of people, think that the only way you can make it is to be a politician. And to give you a simple idea, out of 14 million people, we've got 222 political parties. Yeah, 222 political parties in a small country. And most of those parties, they don't got offices. Most of those parties, you only know one person, the leader of the party. You don't know any other member, because they use it to bargain. They use it as a means of pressure. Today, when they talk about Senegal's president, Macky Sall, and his party, APR, it's not them only, it's not APR only, it's not Macky Sall only. You've got 50 political parties behind the president. So each party got a coalition of parties behind them. And once they get in power, it's really like it's the sharing of power. Okay, I'll take 2 ministers from this party, 1 minister from that party. Oh, for you, I'm going to give you such and such agency. So that's the first step of power in Senegal. And unfortunately, that's the biggest step of power in Senegal. Next, we've got the press. The press, they control the information. We've got pretty much 20 newspapers coming out every day in Senegal. We've got the same number when it comes to magazines coming out monthly. And all of those magazines, the TVs, we've got maybe, Senegalese people have access to pretty much 15 TV channels locally. And then there are the international TVs. But locally, we've got almost access to 12, 15 TV channels which are in Senegal. And then you've got websites, radios. There are, in Senegal, maybe you have access to 53 radio channels from all around the world, and a lot of maybe 25 radio channels inside Senegal. But when you look at it, all of those radios, which are locally based, are owned by 6 groups. TV, radio, or newspaper, they are owned by 6 groups. And the way it works, very often, one group with its radio, with its TV, with its newspapers, for 6 months can really be hard on the government. And then all of a sudden, a switch, they're pro-governmental. So at one point, the people got the feeling that they were getting played. And then some events happened where, for example, our former president revealed that he gave 400 million to the boss of of a TV and a radio. And then his employees even we never knew about it. He never told us about it. So people came little by little to realize that actually the press is playing along with the government, with the politicians. So that's the second power of our country. And of course, we've got, religion. The church in Senegal is pretty cool. They're pretty cool. You don't hear them a lot. No, when I mean that you don't hear them a lot is they do a good job. Personally, that's what I think. They do a good job. They're trying to have a social presence, and their leaders, the leader of the church, expresses himself whenever there are important things going on in the country. And then you've got the Muslim leaders. Because the way it's organized in Senegal, there is Islam, and then there are the brotherhoods. So little by little, it's creating tensions, because belonging to a brotherhood implies a certain way of practicing religion, a certain way of viewing religion, of understanding religion. So the brotherhoods in Senegal, there are mainly two. There are the Mourids, which is really created by a local figure, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. And then there is the Tijan, which is much more international, which is coming from Morocco. But the Mourids are smaller in number, but they're the most powerful, because their philosophy relies on participating. As a disciple, you've got to participate financially, which is not the case of the Tijan. So economically, the Mourids are very, very strong. Let's say if they wanted to gather 1 billion sefer, they would pretty much do it in between weeks. And then the politicians, understanding the power that religious leaders got, very often when it's time for election, they would go to those religious leaders like, can you tell people to vote for me? Can you give an order? We call it ndigal. And many times when our country was really on its knees, all of the religious leaders sort of betrayed the people, because they went running with the less popular candidate, which was usually the president. But just because money was involved, they would go against the people and tell people, yeah, you know, actually this guy, he's a good person, you should vote for him. And then little by little, people started understanding that actually it's the same gang. But these last years, it have changed, because the people has really shown that they're fed up with it. So whenever it comes to giving those orders, they're much more reluctant to do it. They're much more careful. And now there are not so many of them who are fond of doing it. They're trying to do it, but trying to be smart, not to give a name, not to say that they're running with such political party, but there's still a power. And that's a power I can respect, because socially also they're having an impact. Socially, if most of the times when people talk about Senegal, what they say is it's a peaceful country. There's no war going on there. But the price to pay for a war or social tensions not to go there, it's also because these religious leaders intervening at one point or another and tell people, hey, look, we don't have to kill each other. We're all brothers and sisters. This is not recommended by religion. And today, one of the positive role these religious leaders are playing is also against terrorism, fundamentalism, because it's because of this brotherhood that fundamentalism is not so good, so big in Senegal, because it's more of a philosophic, a Sufi approach to religion. But when it comes to politics, yeah, that's where the problem is. And then we got traditional leaders. Traditional leaders, because back in the days, each area of Senegal had a chief, had king. So in Dakar, for example, there is the Serigne Dakar. He's the traditional leader of Dakar, and they're all playing along with the rest of the elite, which is the press, religion, and politicians. But since the 80s, there is sort of artistic movement which was brought by hip-hop. And today you've got lots of artists from different areas who are in that state of mind that we got to bring the power back to the people. And that's what we call reclaiming the power, because the power is ours. So since the 80s, since the end of the 80s, the major job which is done by artists is to show people that they are the real power. But yeah, of course, hip-hop is at the forefront of that job, of that fight. And it started with the 80s, and in 2000 was the first milestone of that fight when, after 40 years of one party, the Socialist Party, the so-called, I would say, so-called Socialist Party, ran the country, hip-hop mobilizing the youth in 2000 so that they register, so that they vote, and they take care of the votes. And in 2000, for the first time in Senegalese history, a change happened. We changed government. But unfortunately, we changed government, and for 12 years, we put in power someone who revealed himself to be worse than his predecessors. And that's when, in 2011, with Chad, who's sitting there, and maybe 6 other figures, 4 of hip-hop and 2 journalists, they started a movement called Y'en a marre. And 2012 was sort of the bloodiest elections in Senegalese history. The number of people who died in 2012, I think that was pretty much the first time in Senegalese history, but people were determined. People were determined to change things. People were determined to show politicians that some things are not going to happen anymore. And it is important, since hip-hop is followed, the audience of hip-hop is mainly young people, to tell them that these young people, who represent almost 60% of our population, they're worried about their future. And since you don't want to educate them, we will educate them with our music, we will educate them with our artistry. So basically, that is what Y'en a marre did. And that is the very reason why we started Journal Rappé. And Journal Rappé, it's pretty easy. Every week, every Friday, there is one episode which is released, which is between 5 and 8 minutes, and we talk about the news, what's been going on. What's been going on not only in Senegal, but around the world, because we also want Senegalese people, Senegalese youth, to understand that the decisions that are taken at the White House is also having an impact on them, on their everyday life. But we got to do all that in a very simple language. Very simple, but also precise, which is giving the right information, but also which is making fun of politicians. So we got our little names for our president, for this and that, because I think the myth, we got to break down the myth. We got to break down the myth of authority in Senegal, because until now we've been having that colonial view of what authority is. So today we got to flip the script and make the people and the politicians realize that actually those who work in the government, they're there because we voted them. They're there because they're supposed to serve us. And that's what Journal Rappé been doing. So a lot of time people will watch the news, will watch Journal Rappé, maybe there is a segment about the president, and people will laugh hard because it's a sort of revenge for them. to see that we can make fun of the president. But making fun of the president also means this. Also means to keep what we've been fighting for, the freedom, the liberty of the freedom of speech we've been fighting for, not to lose it. Because so many times, and that is very common in Western countries, because, yeah, we got freedom of speech here. And then all of a sudden you realize that you don't get freedom of speech. What's going on right now in the US? You say something about Trump, and the next day, the FBI or secret services are coming to your house, knocking at your door. There are privileges. If you don't take care of your privileges, you lose your privileges. It's very simple. That's what Journal Rappé is also about. And in doing so, we also try to address a very important topic. We try to make Journal Rappé community-based. Because when the trash is not collected in a neighborhood, of course, the big TVs, they're not going to talk about it. They're not interested into that. So, since 2013, very often people are calling us or sending us a message on social network, on Facebook or Twitter, like, hey, guys, can you talk about this? Like, the trash haven't been collected since 1 month in our neighborhood. It's like, oh yeah? And do you know who's responsible? Then we would exchange for one day, and if it's really, for us, if that's really serious, we would take our camera, go there, film it, and bring it in Journal Rappé. For example, we've been last time in Saint-Louis, which is in the north of Senegal, 250 kilometers away from Dakar, because some fishermen's family, they had lost their houses to the sea because the wall the government had built there fell down. And they completely lost their houses. They were relocated in some schools. And for 1 month, no media talked about it. We went there, filmed it, put it in Journal Rappé. 1 year later, it is in the news, official news. 1 year later, because soon it's elections, it is in the news now. So that we try to orient it to be something community-based, but also trying to represent minorities. So from time to time, we're making special episodes, not talking about the news, but for example, we would make one special episode only with handicapped people, because they're not taken into account in Senegal. And then me and Xuman, we would just introduce them. And then all of the artists intervening in Journal Rappé would have a sort of handicap, whether they're not seeing well or other types of handicaps. So that's basically what we're trying to do with Journal Rappé, and also using social media to go around traditional media. Because when we created Journal Rappé, we recorded our first episode, and we took kind of 3 months to resync it, correct things. And after those 3 months, for 6 months, we were looking for a TV partner. All of them, when they saw the first episode, they were like, wow, this is great. But you guys talk about politics. And then the first episode, it accidentally went online. It was not even meant to go online. The day it went online, it was shared so much on Facebook that the same day it went online at 12, at 7, a TV called us with a contract. So yeah, today internet is, of course there are lots of problems with internet, but internet can also help the good way. And that's what we're trying to show with Journal Rappé. So we won't have time to go through this. These are the numbers of Journal Rappé. But I guess Hans must also be in a hurry. So yeah, pretty much the first season we had 24 episodes for 163 minutes. But because people were so interested in Journal Rappé, for the second season, we had 26 episodes for 249 minutes, making the episodes longer because people were asking for more. People were asking for more information. And the statistics has been going on until season 4. For season 4, we had episodes like for 10 minutes, even for 12 minutes. Because the topics were very, very important and we wanted to go deep inside the topic. And as you can see, we talk about pretty much everything: justice, politics, immigration, education, security, terrorism, environment, which is a topic me and Xuman personally, we love to talk about because it's not so popular in Senegal. Yet, in reality, people are facing a lot of problems because of environmental problems. And we want to help bring that topic on the scene for people to be more careful, for people to realize that it's not because our country is poor, as they call it, that we don't have to take care of environment, that many of our problems can be solved by taking care of environment. So I guess what we're going to do now is get out of here and give you a little feel of what Journal Rappé is. So yeah, I'm gonna get my, because yeah, that's the thing with Journal Rappé. We never got the texts in mind. It's always reading and rapping it at the same time.
Two of Senegal's most popular rappers are quickly becoming known in the country as broadcast journalists. Keyti and Xuman, both veterans on Dakar's hip-hop scene, co-anchor the Journal Rappé, a short TV segment that presents news in a musical format every week.
Au Sénégal maintenant, où les jeunes peuvent désormais regarder en ligne un journal télévisé entièrement en rap.
Comment intéresser les jeunes à l'actualité? Au Sénégal, on pense avoir trouvé la réponse en présentant le journal télé sur fond de musique rap.
Ils sont deux, un premier qui chante l'actu en français et un autre qui refait le journal en Wolof, la langue locale. Le premier, Xuman, en français, c'est plus simple, rythme l'actu depuis le 11 avril dernier sur YouTube. Ça s'appelle le JT Rappé et franchement, ça déchire.
The show may take a humorous approach through amusing lyrics, but the rappers actually work hard to shine the spotlight on serious issues. From critiquing public officials accused of embezzling government funds to encouraging voters to register. Keyti and Xuman's weekly news segment, which broadcasts in French and the widely spoken Senegalese language of Wolof, not only gets tens of thousands of views on YouTube, but is also played out nationwide on 2S TV.
Les morts ne se comptent plus par centaines mais par milliers. Sur la route de l'immigration clandestine, on est familier avec ces images de corps sans vie, vomis par l'océan. Autant de destins, d'espoir et de rêves brisés en plein élan. L'arrivée en terre promise, c'est comme gagner au loto. Mais y a de l'eau dans le radeau qui mène vers l'Eldorado. À ce niveau, on dit plus victimes, on parle de statistiques. 1800 morts depuis janvier et chaque pirogue est un Titanic. Les guerres et les crises sont les principaux alibis de ce flot de migrants qui passent par le Maroc ou la Libye, à la recherche d'une vie meilleure de l'autre côté de la rive. Mais la Méditerranée devient le tombeau de leurs rêves. Ouvrez les frontières, ouvrez les frontières. Comme dit Fatou Diom, on sera riche ensemble. L'Europe fait semblant de ne pas entendre leurs prières. Ou alors on va se noyer tous ensemble.
Monsieur Xuman waaye ana sunuy responsabilité fuñ ko bàyyee wala faaw ñuy joxoñ rek wut kuñ koy jiiñ dëkk ci gañ ak jiin yërëm tëlu ak di giiñ africain na bàyyi tappale nuñ koy dakkalee ñu ngi ci suñuy dëkk ci sunuy nguur jëkk la kale te ba chantage historique bi wagas yëre yi liggéey ku mu jaral dugg ci gaal ba soobu ci géej di fay teg sa bakkan ci xott foog na yaa ñu ëpp problème nara jaral des sa dëkk waar ba am këyit soog a dem junnoog juróom juróomi téeméer ci at bi dooreek léegi dee nañ ci géej
oui, mais on ne peut nier la responsabilité de l'Europe qui vient toujours nous piller.
Balaa loolu nag nañu wax sunu njiit yi ñu joxul cër politique yu bon yi fi am te ñu xam ni sampul kër lan la sunu njiit yi def ngir tëye ndaw mi bañ a dem ci justice démocratie ban njariñ lañ ñu amal ñàkk liggéey ak ndóol ci askan ñooñu ko tàmmal faaw ñëpp jóg xeex ya beel fii la war yam.
Il n'envie rien à ses principaux concurrents que sont la malaria, le choléra et le sida. Il provoque lui aussi diarrhée, fièvre et vomissement. On parle de lui jusqu'à Hollywood, son nom virus Ebola. 700 cas, 300 morts, Sierra Leone et Libéria. C'est la folie à Conakry et la panique au Nigeria. Information de taille, 2 Américains seraient tombés malades. Ça c'est bon signe pour le vaccin. Tous ces pays sont les voisins du Sénégal. Même nos parents maliens ne saluent plus n'importe qui. Mais nous ici, on est relax, on boit du thé. Nos gris-gris nous protègent de ce que le blanc a inventé. Ebola est dangereux, protégez-vous. Le gouvernement n'en parle pas, mais vous renseignez-vous. Eau chaude, savon, mangez moins de singes. La soupe de chauve-souris et de gorille, ce n'est pas bien.
ci weer wi génocide Rwanda xetu deret ubale air bi Kigali ba Muramba paaka jaasi xeej fetal en yu làq jugaale Kibuye Butaare Tutsi yëpp ñu gaare uti yi ëpp jekku ONU dapp dawra ceeku àdduna bi seetaan li nite ci ñun wàññeeku avril ba juillet 800 000 morts xeetu rey yi gën ñaaw gas ba mel dalay koor gannaaw fàttaliku ak di jubalee ña nga xam ne démb noonu lañ woon président ba Paul Kagame dellu joxoon ñëwoon ci suuf di xëcc buum ya ndax France ak Belgique ku leen ci génne juum nga ñoo tàggat ña doon rey jox ganaan ña doon rey ba mu coolee ñoo dellu si ngir aar ña doon rey France di mer di funki waaye on s'en fout liberté égalité fraternité c'est sans nous.
Afrique, Afrique, mon Afrique. Mon Afrique pillée, pendant longtemps dépouillée par des retours déguisés en homme d'affaires. Mon Afrique surendettée, affamée, sous-équipée. Sa croissance avance mais elle reste en arrière. Incroyable, 10 personnes possèdent autant de richesses que la moitié la plus pauvre de la population africaine. Des immeubles poussent mais le niveau de vie baisse. Et chaque jour s'augmentent ces inégalités extrêmes. Pire que la mafia, Al Capone ou Escobar, les multinationales volent à l'Afrique des milliards de dollars grâce à nos dirigeants complices qui leur font des remises avec des allègements fiscaux. C'est le gâteau sur la cerise. Avec ces fuites de capitaux, on pourrait construire des écoles, des hôpitaux, électrifier les zones rurales et faciliter l'accès à l'eau. Nous sommes des mendiants, pourtant on est assis sur un magot. S'il n'y a pas de justice fiscale, il n'y a pas de paix sociale. Pour développer l'Afrique, on doit combattre à chance égale. Faut les forcer à payer leurs taxes. Un point c'est tout, ils jouent encore à DSK. Et c'est nous, Nafisa.
2011 deret la ñu bindee araf yi fukki weeru yëngu-yëngu daaneel nguuru xaraf yi Benghazi Zouara Misrata Libitak ba Sirte Lebda Zawiya ñëpp ne ci jàkk ca la weeru révolution ba dooree woon Tunisie yegg si jaxase carte yëpp ñu dëpp ci misi xaritu Xadafi yi démb taxawal way fippu yi France Angleterre OTAN bombe tuyyi ñetti at wees na léegi Libi no man's land la kilifteefu Kalachnikov ay milice yu ñàng la congo ak xëccoo fitna bés bu yàlla sàkk démocratie ba nasaraan si indi saf na sap pétrole tax ñuy rayante askan wane cundum ndox muñ naan sax jafe ak lekk fajog càngaay bale nag seeni bopp ñu des ji jooy ak rëccu nasaraan si takki bagaasam ña ngay gàddaay.
Après la France-Afrique, la Chine-Afrique, c'est USA-Afrique. Un autre sommet sur le futur avenir de l'Afrique. Près de 50 présidents africains Obama ont répondu à la convocation de notre président Obama. Mais seuls les enfants sages ont été conviés. On a évité El Béchir et autres Robert Mugabe. L'Amérique veut mettre fin à l'hégémonie économique de la Chine qui a investi tous les secteurs en Afrique. La main qui demande est toujours en dessous. Malgré ses richesses, l'Afrique a toujours besoin de leurs sous. Sous conditions de bonne gouvernance et démocratie, lutte contre la corruption et respect des droits de l'homme aussi. Et Papa Obama a aussi promis le courant et le sérum de 33 milliards pour le continent mourant. Vraiment, il nous veut du bien parce que l'Afrique aussi a droit au rêve américain.
Publicité. Vous n'y avez jamais pensé, mais Bill Gates l'a réalisé. L'homme le plus riche du monde, avec sa fondation, veut éradiquer la soif dans le monde. De l'eau potable qui sort de vos toilettes, c'est possible. C'est pas du caca-cola, c'est du caca-water. Caca-water. Le caca change avec Bill Gates. Caca-water, bientôt au Sénégal.
Depuis le 11 septembre, tout est beaucoup plus sombre. Un peu partout dans le monde, le bien et le mal s'affrontent. L'ennemi est un barbu anti là-bas avec une calache qui coupe des têtes sur YouTube et commet des attentes à l'âge. Au nom d'Allah, les Kouachi et Koulibaly envoient 17 armes dans l'au-delà. Munitions contre crayons inégalais, ce combat-là. Le djihad est sur leur sol et c'est ce que les Français voilà.
Bonne année, Lingui 2015, 7 janvier, il faut noter que bisante, les Nyandam, Dakat, Adounabi, Berina, Tensante, Élysée Baroissi mu mel ni film live and direct TV di ko get ne këpp Charlie Hebdo ratatatat rey fukk ak ñett xeeb ko massacre attaque islam la ñu bëggoo gëm temm ne ñi ngi jihaad ñi ngi dee yéeféer lañ liñ mérité lañ leen joxaat 48 heures l'enquête daqanteeg sa salom bés ba ca topp lañ leen abaat ratatatat je suis Charlie gi ne tuleeg màlle je ne suis pas Charlie mel ni luñ wàlle terrorisme janoog liberté d'expression ku ne di wax expliquer théorie de pression ñaari camp yi nekk jamono lu fi jar lii sunu président sax dem na fi ba Paris mars doon Charlie.
Où sont passés nos 10%? C'est la question que les paysans africains se posent à l'unisson. Pourtant, il y a 10 ans à Maputo, nos dirigeants avaient pris la résolution de reverser au moins 10% de leur budget national à l'agriculture, surtout familiale. 10 ans plus tard, c'est comme s'il y avait une amnésie générale. Bientôt, notre Yassa ne sera même plus national. Parce que ni le poulet, l'oignon, le riz ne sont d'origine locale. Il faut que nos États respectent les engagements pris à Maputo. Parce que la faim n'est pas une maladie qu'on soigne dans les hôpitaux. Investir mieux et bien dans l'agriculture, c'est sauver 150 millions d'Africains dans le futur.
bitim réew Afrique cey Afrique continent bi du jugee ci musibaak balaa yu sadik épidémie guerre réew yi tàkk ñàkk bu sax dàkk feebar duñ faju xiif maral ñoo ko bëri gàkk askan yi dëkkee taqale njiit yi jëkkee tappale di sàcc di luubal sanguinaire gën fi lakkale am wu ne gaañ suuf si naat ñu am kattan waaye defuñu ci lenn dundee ndimbal ñoo ko sàggan li ci doy waar nag sunuy njiit ñoom ñoo ngi noos ñoog seeni njaboot di soos ay milliards ci seeni poos góob ma ni dañu koo liggéey xëy na dañ koo jéggi nii waaye ñiñ ci ràññee club milliardaires Nyingini, Mugabe 5 milliards, Déby 25 milliards, Muzwati 50 milliards, Biya 103 milliards, Uhuru Kenyatta 259 milliards, Obiang Gemang 310 milliards, pour Maroc Mohamed 6 1300 milliards, Waye Rougadougui dañ koy jox Dos Santos, président Angola 79 bataille en poste 9835 milliards. Lan 9835 milliards. Damn!
They want to take the world back into darkness. Cold-blooded killers, heavily armed and heartless. Killing, raping, looting, kidnapping. Nothing but hatred towards mankind. In the name of their belief, horror and devastation is what they always leave behind. They want us to live in fear, and they are called terrorists. But wait, he, Dylan Roof, went in a church in Charleston, North Carolina in June 2015, opened fire and killed 9 black people. Anders Behring Breivik killed 77 people in 2011 during a youth summer camp in Norway. Meet Chris Harper, killed 9 people in Oregon Community College this October. How will you call them? Terrorists or not terrorists? Because see, terrorism does not apply to only one race or a religion. So, next time you meet one, please don't panic. Just give them a hug and tell them you love them, you love them.
Islam et société, Burqa contre sécurité. Le débat est animé pour nous, Mouna, enquêter.
En effet, Monsieur Roumania, péril en la demeure. La secte Boko Haram continue de faire beaucoup de morts. Attentats, suicides, kamikazes, femmes voilées, enfants volés. En gros, les catégories les plus vulnérables de la société. On parle de plus en plus de l'interdiction du port du voile intégral. Mesures préventives de sécurité nationale. Dans les rues, plus de burqa, plus de style ninja tropical.
Mais Mouna, voyons, un peu de sérieux là.
Oups, excusez-moi. Le Cameroun emboîte le pas. Au Gabon, au Tchad et à certaines régions du Niger et du Nigeria, interdiction formelle de porter le niqab ou la burqa qui ont servi à dissimuler des bombes lors des précédents attentats. Au Sénégal, cette éventualité fait beaucoup jaser. Sur la question s'affuse et les avis sont partagés. D'aucuns disent qu'à cause d'une minorité malveillante, on ne devrait pas frustrer une majorité bienveillante.
Absolument, absolument.
Certains s'indignent. C'est une attaque au symbole de l'islam et à leur liberté de culte.
Ah bon?
Ils considèrent cette mesure comme discriminatoire. Pour eux, c'est une nouvelle insulte. Pour d'autres encore, la burqa ne serait pas une prescription de la religion, l'aurait emprunté à d'autres traditions. Pour moi, toute mesure doit nous unir et non nous diviser. Restons vigilants, mais il ne faut surtout pas stigmatiser.
Merci. Ce n'est pas la
xibaari bitim réew yeneeni attentat ngal Tunisie États-Unis Koweït ak Tchad li ci gën a raglu nag di terrorisme fi mu àgg kenn mu tëtu ci ñëpp a ngi seen agenda mën na doon ku ne mën na xewee fu ne amee nu ne yenn saa yi sax ñu jël ci ay gune ca ab juma la ñu ciblé rey ay bakkan ñaar fukk ak juróom-ñaar blessé yu sakkan suuf si Tunisie 38 morts ay touristes ab waay gàddu kalasam doxantu ci place bi di roose États-Unis ndax nag doon fa nit ñu ko ñuul touriste gannaaw policier yi leen di rëbb di leen noosé ca Charleston ab tubaab raciste di laan ruuf dugg église ak fetal juróom-ñeenti bakkan ci suuf Tchad itam N'Djamena def nañ fa daraam fukk ak benn ci benn explosion bombe Boko Haram.
Au Sénégal, l'ICN n'est plus à l'abri après 25 ans de procédure d'enquête de palabres. Rattrapé par ceux qui lui couraient après, il est temps pour lui de répondre de ses crimes macabres. Il perd le pouvoir en 90 après un coup d'état. Il débarque avec famille et milliards au pays de la Teranga. Accueilli par Diouf, protégé par Wad, il veut oublier et surtout se faire oublier par le Tchad. Mais les familles des 40 000 victimes ne peuvent oublier. Pour le repos des âmes de leurs morts, il doit être jugé. Beaucoup d'émotions, les passions sont attisées. Allons au tribunal voir comment se comporte l'accusé.
Je refuse de participer à ce simulacre de procès. D'ailleurs, je ne reconnais aucun des faits qui me sont reprochés. Encore moins cette cour de justice à la solde des impérialistes. Je suis victime d'un complot néocolonialiste. De ces mêmes colons qui m'ont soutenu, qui m'ont armé face à Kadhafi, qui m'ont trahi et qui aujourd'hui sont derrière Idriss Déby d'ailleurs qui est aussi responsable que moi, coupable et torturé les violations des droits de l'homme. Il est aussi comptable. Et puis le Sénégal a violé mon droit à l'exil. La prochaine fois, j'irai me réfugier au Brésil.
C'est la première fois en Afrique qu'un dictateur d'Afrique est jugé par les Africains. C'est historique, mais Abré n'a pas l'intention de se laisser faire. Le procès reprend en septembre, il promet la guerre.
tubaab yi daal ñooy purux tax gërëmuñu ñamu deuxième guerre bu dul woon suñuy maam di sunux ci ay ndëkk sa doxu Hitler africain yi wane jàmbaar ci bépp guerre waaye bu desul lu dul feete victoire lañ leen di beer fay ñu naaj bi xoromam jox tirailleur bi cërëm dafa mel ni der bu ñuul daal du mës a ab seen ngërëm débarquement Normandie juróom-ñaar fukki ak si ren ñu koy feetee ki xumbeen ne àdduna bépp ak si leen anglais français allemand américain nasaraan yëpp seen biir tàkk lépp luy africain mbir mi xeebaate la non li mu gën a niru yebaate la ci bépp njiitu réewu Afrique mbir mi yóbbante la ñaata ñoo fa ba seen bakken ci suñuy maam fu ñu mësaana soxla ba woote ñooy njëkk taxaw ne naam dafa jot ñu foqati suñu cër xam ne bi du seeni mbaam
Publicité.
Est plein de goût artificiel où les bouillons cubes même remplacent le sel. Il y en a autant qu'il y a d'étoiles dans le ciel. On met du bouillon dans la sauce, bouillon dans le riz, pourquoi pas du bouillon dans le lard et le café aussi. Noko solide, jumbo ou magie, aja tem tem, chonge ou mami. On s'en fout de la qualité, l'essentiel c'est de manger. Notre vie est en danger. La nourriture empoisonnée par ces bouillons. Trop de bouillon dans la cuisson. Maintenant, trop de bouillon comme des bonbons. Nous abusons. Bouillon, poisson, épices, oignons, on croit que c'est bon. Faut faire attention à ce que nous mangeons. Épices, oignons, c'est diabète et hypertension que nous consommons. On croit que c'est bon.
Yes, so thank you.
Keyti, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think this is a very good example how to educate people, and I hope we have some rappers here who could follow and make a show like this. That would be nice.
Yeah, I just want to thank you again and tell you that if you want to see the latest episodes of Journal Rappé, we're having a pause right now, but new season is coming out very soon. You can just go on YouTube, JTR Online, JTR Online, and then you've got like almost 100 episodes like this there. Thank you.
Keyti, thank you. And say hello to Xuman.
I will.
That everybody liked it very much.